Yep. Hey, sports fans, PBnZ, sports chaos. Hey, BB, wild weekend. The Rangers wild card team won the World Series 11-0 on the road. Are you impressed?
I wonder if that's unprecedented.
It is. It is. Actually, it is unprecedented.
Wow. It's pretty
Hey,
amazing.
by the way, there's a lot of scuttlebutt about the 12 playoff team format and the way it was all done because the bye is not so beneficial in baseball like it is in football, right? Would you agree?
Yeah, yeah, I would for sure.
Like, if you're hot, you want to keep hitting the ball, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Exactly.
God, yeah, yeah. All right, hey, so we had some good football last week. College football, I hate to admit this, but my OU team lost to Kansas. The first CFP playoff polls came out. Ohio State is number one. What do you think about that?
Oh man, until they square off with Michigan, let's see. I don't know. They're winning football games. So
Yeah, I get they won Notre Dame, and I forget the other team they won against, another ranked team. I'm not impressed. I'm not in Penn State. I'm not impressed. So we'll see what happens. We're gonna pick those games in a minute. By the way, is Michigan in trouble?
because of the controversy or because of
Yes, yes, yes.
yeah,
Because of the cheating.
I, I don't know. I mean, there's so much that goes on behind the scenes there with those investigations and stuff. I can't really make any comments until the report's out and they've laid out all the cards on the table. But yes, they are in jeopardy of maybe getting suspended from playing in the CFP this year, which would be interesting because it would open up that fifth spot, right? Or what would have been a fifth spot, right? So, yeah,
I'll just say this. Back when I used to play, every coach sent a guy to go, a girl or whatever, to scout another team. So I don't think it's immoral. I don't. You know what? If you want to spend the money to buy a ticket, fly the guy there, that's a lot of freaking money. Good for you, right?
all right.
All right. Hey, let's go make some picks. You ready for make some picks?
Yeah, let's go right into college first, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we got what are we looking at? We're looking at Washington against USC.
Right. And this game is at
Minus
USC.
three Washington, right?
And Washington's
At
favorite on the road.
USC.
Yeah, Washington's favorite on the road. But you know what? They've been impressive as hell. I mean, that one game against Oregon, like I said, that was probably one of the best college football games I've seen this year. And USC they're just not getting it done. They're letting up too many points. They're playing closer games than they should to teams that are less than weaker opponents than them. I think Michael Penix goes on the road as a favorite and covers that spread of 3. I'm going Washington in this one.
I'm with you, but I'll caution us both on this thing. USC has a great freaking offense, and now Washington cannot play defense that well. They play it better than USC. It could be closer than we think, but I'm gonna take Washington as well, minus three.
And G money is too. So all
All
three
right.
Washington. Yep.
All right, here's a good one. K-State, who's had a couple of impressive wins, Kansas State. They go on the road. They're going to play Texas, the Longhorns. What do you think?
And Texas is the favorite team here by 4. I think at
4 points.
laying the
Yep.
points here. I'm going with the favorite again. G Money does take K State in this one, but I'm going with Texas.
I'm with you, man. G Money, you're freaking high. It's not Kansas. They just didn't beat Oklahoma last week. It's K-State. I got you. I got you. Texas, too. All right. This is a good one. LSU on the road at Alabama. Alabama's a 3-point favorite. What do you think?
Yeah, and Bam has played some questionable games this year that made me, think about is this really a team? But lately they've been pretty impressive. I'm going to take Bam. Another favorite at home. I'm laying 3 points.
By
G
the way, what does G Money say?
G Money's got LSU.
G Money. I played against Brian Kelly in college. He is not a prime time player. He's a choke artist. I get Alabama.
And then we got OU, the final game. We got OU again.
Oh man, at PB, I'm so. I'm wearing my hat. It's the last bedlam, maybe, in paper, because they're not going to be in the same conference next year. I've been to Bedlam. I was there like 8 years ago. Oklahoma was a 5.5 point favorite. What do you think?
And I think they can cover. I think they bounce back. I think that last week's loss was a little bit of a slap in the face. I think they're going to come out firing on all cylinders, despite being on the road. I think they cover it. So I'm going to lay the 5.5. G-Money's taking OK State.
He's high again. I get you. OU covers for sure.
All
I
right.
would not have said that if they won last week, but after last week's loss, I got you. All right.
So the only thing that sucks is you're up 3 games on me in college, and we have all the same picks this week, so I can't gain on you. But G-Money could fall further behind because he has 3 picks different than us.
And he was supposed to be the money guy. I don't get it. All right, let's talk NFL. All right, Kirk Cousins. He's out for the year. They made a trade. Who do they get? Minnesota got
Joshua Dobbs from Arizona, and they obviously have that rookie Jalen Warren, who's the guy that I think they're going to go to this week for the start, and then give Dobbs a chance to maybe get acclimated to the system or see how Jalen Warren actually does as a starter and make stick with him and Dobbs becomes the backup. But it's not a good situation for Minnesota, especially, Justin Jefferson's still out. He doesn't come back until next week at the earliest. So this team's got some question marks. I know they started to play pretty good, and they looked like they were going in the right direction and got back to 500. But to me, the Lions are still the class of that division right now. They're in rough shape.
So you really think the Lions are the class of the division?
Of the North, yeah, especially with Cousins going down. Right. Yeah, I really do.
Ooh, all right. By the way, where do you favor the Lions in the conference?
What's that?
Where do you think of the Lions are in the NFC?
They're right up there. I mean, they're a top 3 or 4. I mean, I'm not putting anyone in the South in that conversation. So that leaves Dallas, Philly, and San Francisco, and maybe Seattle. I mean, they're in the top 4 for sure, maybe the top 3.
Well, good segue, because San Fran is coming off 1, 2, 3 straight losses in a row, correct?
Yes.
So is Brock Purdy's slipper cracking?
Yeah, Cinderella? And they're not the teams that are like dominant, like teams that you're talking about, like Super Bowl contending teams like Cleveland. They lost to Minnesota, right?
Yes.
Who did they lose to last week? They lost another one last week to Cincinnati. Cincinnati,
yes. Yeah. By the way, my boy Joe Burrow.
And I put Cincinnati in that category, but I don't put Cleveland and Minnesota in that category. So there's not like they're losing to these like powerhouse teams. There's some question marks there in San Francisco for sure. By the way, Chase Young.
By the way, they played last night. He lost, but is Will Levis the incumbent forever in Tennessee?
You mean taking over for Tannehill?
Yes.
Yeah. I think so. I think Levis can keep his job. I mean, last night obviously he didn't do that well, but he still made some pretty good throws last night. So
he did. It was a good game. Yeah. I agree. All right. Let's do some picks. This is one of the better weeks of the year. So let's start right out. Casey in Miami in, I think it's in Europe someplace.
Frankfurt, Germany. Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
And the Patriots will be playing there the following week. So on my actual birthday next Sunday.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Yeah, so it's part of the German series. I loved it. I love that they're taking the NFL to Germany. I know they did it last year for the first time when they played in Munich. And there's been a lot of talk about the travel arrangements. Miami went in early. They've been there for like 3 days now. The Chiefs just landed today. So there's some controversy around, does that impact their ability to wake up on Sunday morning and play. And we've seen in the past teams be lackluster, like Buffalo and stuff like that. So that theory tends to lend itself to say, hey, maybe this is a chance for Miami to take this game. But I have this theory that I just don't pick against Kansas City. I just, until I know last week they had a rough game in Denver. That's a divisional game. It's on the road. That stuff happens. The Buffalo lost to the Patriots. You know what I mean? That stuff happens. So I'm not putting a lot of stock into that. I think Kansas City wins this game. It's going to be close, but I think Kansas City wins it.
Well, PB, the other factor is how many winning teams has Miami beat this year?
Well, that's the other thing too, right? The two teams they played that were powerhouses were Buffalo and Philly, and they got smoked by them both. And the teams that they've beaten are all sub 500 teams. So that's another good point. So
that's my math. That's why I'm picking KC in this game. I don't think KC. Hey, 1-53. I think Miami's better, but at the end of the day, Miami has a proving they haven't yet. So I'm taking KC.
Yeah, you're right. When you're talking about receivers, right? Hill and Waddle is their second receiver, and he's like easily would be the best receiver on Kansas City without a question. So, that part of it I get, but all right, so we're all in on KC.
All right. Washington and Pats. I didn't want to put this in the picks, but we're local guys. We have to pick this game.
You have to put it, and it could end up being a decent game.
It could be, yes.
Howell's been pretty impressive. Right now, from a fantasy perspective, he's the QB8 on the season, so he's the 8th best quarterback as far as production and putting up numbers, and that includes a game where he had negative 5.7 points when he played Buffalo, and Buffalo sacked him like 9 times. So. And he threw like 4 picks or something like that. So that was an atrocious game for him. So without that game, he's probably a top 5 or top 4 quarterback, right?
Yeah.
So I just think he can make some hay here. And until New England shows me that they can actually run an offense effectively, I just can't take the Patriots in this game. So I know Washington just got rid of Chase Young. They got rid of their other defensive end there. Whatever his name is.
Sweat. Marcus Sweat, yes.
Sweat. Yeah. So they're both, I was gonna say smart. But they're both gone. And
PB, by the way, WTF, why get rid of those 2 guys? They're studs. What are they thinking in Washington?
Yeah, I guess you're right. I'm not sure what the theory is. That they're probably going to spread out their money in other ways or something to make a more complete team. But all that being said, if the Patriots were a powerhouse passing team and had a really, really strong offensive line, I would say, hey, that's gonna hurt Washington. But because the Patriots don't get the ball downfield anyways. So that pass rush almost doesn't matter in this particular game. So that's why I'm still taking Washington. G-Money has.
And by the way, Kendrick Bourne is out. He's got an AC tear. Huge loss to the Pats, right? In my mind, he's the number 1 guy.
Right, and Douglas might have a good game because of that, because he's going to be the man, I think. But
I like him. I like that kid. All right.
So who are you taking?
Oh, of course, Washington.
Okay. I am as well. G-Money's taking the Pats.
Hey, what did G-Money take in the first game, though? Miami and KC?
We all had KC.
All right. All right. I don't want to talk about this yet, but I have to.
Oh, no.
Dallas and Philadelphia in Philly.
Oh, this will be a great game. So this is the 4 o'clock, 4:25 slot, right? On Sunday.
By the way, I appreciate this at 4:25 than 8:10 or 8:15 the Embassy game.
Yeah, well, that game's going to be good too because that's Buffalo Cincinnati. So
yes, it is. First time that we're going to have 2 good games late day.
Oh my God, that was both marquee game and the 9:30 game with KC and Miami. those 3 games are unbelievable.
Yeah, this is the weekend.
But that Philly game, as much as I love Dallas. By the way, Dallas, neither of us picked was the 3rd and long team of last year. They had last week. They had the biggest margin of victory. They smoked the Rams. If any team can go into Philly and win, I think it is Dallas in the NFC right now, especially because it's a divisional game. But I can't. Philly's been impressive. I mean, Hurts and AJ Brown combination. I mean, I can't deny the fact that Philly is a good team at this point in time. So I had question marks, but they proved me just like Miami. If Miami goes in and beats Kansas City this week, all of our question marks about, hey, you're playing weaker opponents. We said that about Philly. Oh, you're not
right,
playing
right.
teams. You're playing close games against weak teams. So that's why I wasn't all in on them. But I'm starting to move in that direction. I'm taking Philly. I wouldn't be surprised if I lose this one, but I'm gonna try to ride the Eagles this week.
My man, I echo the same thing. I can't pick the Cowboys. It's on the road. Dak hasn't showed me enough to show I can pick against Jalen. So I'm with you. But
All right.
I would not be surprised.
And G Money's got Philly too. So
okay. All right. All right. The other really good game, the Bills go the Bengals, who showed a lot of heart. Joe Burrow, my man, came out of nowhere. He kicked the San Fran's beep last week. What do you think?
Yeah, and right now Cincinnati to me is starting to become my Super Bowl favorite in the AFC. To be in the Super Bowl in the AFC. It's them in Kansas City.
By the way, did we both flip? I know I picked them. Do you pick them too for the Super Bowl?
I didn't pick them to go to the Super Bowl. No, I picked Kansas City again. But
I get San Fran. So, all right.
I think it's a KC Cincinnati AFC Championship game the way this thing is shaping up, and we know Cincinnati's had Kansas City's number in recent years. So I wouldn't be surprised if Cincinnati gets to the Super Bowl this year. And as an 0-2 team, they started off 0-2 last year. They started off 0-2 again this year. They started off 1-3 this year, as a matter of fact. This team does the same thing all the time. And then they just come alive. I love this team as far as their overall just well-roundedness. I'm taking Cincinnati. I think at home against the Bills, they can take care of business. I'm taking Cincinnati.
I'm with you. By the way, the Bills have not impressed me this year. I think they took 3 steps backwards. Do you agree?
Well, they got smoked by the Patriots, so I mean,
yes,
I should tell you.
There you go. I get Bengals. I got Bengals. What G Money?
And so does G Money actually. So we're all in on KC, Philly, and Cincinnati. We all have the same pick.
All right. Here's a good game. The Chargers at the Jets. The Jets won what I would call the worst football game in 25 years last week against the Giants, when they had 24 punts between the two teams. Obviously, the most ugliest game ever. Unfortunately, we had to watch it because after the Patriots game, they put it on.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I'm trying to figure out if the Giants' defense is really that good, because they've held some pretty good teams to low points this year. They almost beat Buffalo the week before. They held them.
By the way, they got players. The kid from Oregon, Thibodeau. He had a great day, right?
The game, yeah. So I mean, I think their defense is legit. Like, so I'm wondering, like what's going on with all that. So the Jets being held down to as few points as they did might be a function of the fact that the defense of the Giants is pretty good. The Chargers don't have that same defense. So the Jets will be able to put up some more points for sure. They're not going to be held 10 or 13 points. I think the Jets can score upwards of 20 points in this game. So that's kind of where I am with the Jets. And I've always said they have the big playmakers. They got Garrett Wilson, they got Breece Hall, they got playmakers there. Now the question becomes, can the Chargers score more than 18 to 22 points that I think the Jets can score? Now that's a question of, can they get after Herbert? Like, what's the Jets? Is the Jets defense going to show up? Is the Jets defense going to be able to stop that offense in LA? And it's on the road, right? So it's on the road for LA. It's in New York. That gives another tick to the Jets. So things start to say, hey, this could be a little upset in the making. And I know G Money does have the Jets in this one, but I think the Chargers kind of found their way last week. They beat the Bears convincingly. I think they can go into New York and win. I'm taking the Chargers.
BB, I'm with you. On paper, they're a much better team. Justin Herbert against Zach Wilson? Come on, give me a break. If we were playing 7-on-7, shirts on skins, Zach Wilson is going to get his ass kicked against Justin Herbert. I'm taking Herbert and the Chargers.
All right, so me and you are in on LA there. G Money has the Jets. And our last game,
Seattle at Baltimore. I'm a Baltimore fan. You always give me a hard time. This is gonna be a much tougher. It's almost a 6-point spread. I don't see it that tight. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's going to be close. And Seattle,
I do too.
they won at Detroit in week 2. I mean, this team
Yes.
can go on the road and win. They've proven that. The other side of that is Geno Smith he's just been okay this year. He hasn't impressed the heck out of me. I like that they're starting to get the rookie Jackson Smith and Jigba involved in that offense. Kenny Walker is impressive as heck. That kid Zach Charbonnet to me is an RB2 on that team is good when he gets the ball. I think this team has the offensive weapons to certainly compete in Baltimore. It's going to come on to the type of day Lamar has. If Lamar has a Lamar day, Baltimore should win this game. Seattle's defense isn't that type of defense to me that can contain Lamar or beat Lamar in that regard. So even though, I'm not a big fan of Baltimore, I still think at home they take care of business. So I'm going to take the Ravens.
By the way, Lamar in his career is now, after last weekend, 17-1 against the NFC. And this game is at 1 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern time, 10 o'clock Western time. I'm taking Baltimore all day long.
D-money is as well. So we're all in on Baltimore on that one. So
right,
actually, KC, Philly, Cincinnati, and Baltimore, we're all in on all of us. And Washington and LA, he has the other team. So once again, Z, we have the same exact 6 picks. We had the same 4 picks in college and the same 6 picks. We are different on nothing this week.
Oh, okay. You're finally wising up. All right, let's do our third and short.
It's third and long
third
and fourth and inches. So third and long is the game this week that you think will have the biggest point spread differential.
What do you got?
This is going to be surprising to you. I got Atlanta and Minnesota.
And who are you favoring?
I'm going to favor Atlanta. I think Tyler Heineke comes out on fire this week. I know Drake London's out, but I think they involve Pitts heavily. I think they have a field day. I think Bijan has a field day. I think Algier gets involved in this game. I think they score a lot of points on Minnesota, and Minnesota doesn't have an answer offensively. So I'm going to go with like a 31-14 game, which would be 17 points. So that's going to be my biggest blowout.
Wow. All right. You're not going to like this. I got the Chiefs beating the Dolphins by 24 points in Europe.
All right. Well, we all took KC, so that's
all right. What do you got for fourth and inches? The game that might go to overtime.
Yeah, fourth and inches, the game most likely to go to overtime. I think the Sunday night game has got everything written all over it. Buffalo, Cincinnati. I know we took Cincinnati, but I think Buffalo hangs around. You can't count Josh Allen out. I think this game comes down to a last-minute field goal to tie it and win it, but I'm saying that one has the most likely chance of going to overtime.
I got Pass in Washington. 2 teams that have horrible offenses, so defenses, and now that Washington has traded the 2 best defensive players in my mind out of the conference, this game is going to be 10-11 at the end of the day.
I wouldn't say Washington has a horrible offense. Their defense is probably worse than their offense. Their defense, especially with these 2 guys gone, their front 7 wasn't bad. Their backfield has sucked all year long.
No, you're right.
And offensively, it's still got.
Hopefully, Belichick wakes up. We'll see. Yeah, but this game is going to be close.
But you still got Terry McLaurin. You still got Jahan Dotson, right? He's a rookie last year out of Penn State. He's in his 2nd year. You still got Brian Robinson as a running back. You got Howell's having a great year. I don't know. What's his name? Logan Thomas is playing a good tight end this year. I think this team's got the offensive weapons.
I see this game close. I see it going overtime.
All right. Hey, that's why we play the games, right?
Yes, sir.
All right,
man. All right. Have a good weekend. I'll talk to you.
All right. Sounds good, my man.